basically, let's say you are developing a software for a bank or for any insurance company or so. Now, the rework effort that you may have to do increases depending on the point at which you detect the discrepancies. The more you detect the discrepancies later into the life cycle, the more effort it takes to correct it and to give a proper shape to it. So it's a reverse equation. I mean, if you see the life cycle, if you have this much life period, if you detect the thing here, then the effort is inversely proportional to it. So the later you detect, the more it takes time. From that point of view, it's one of the foremost thing that you have to pay attention in terms of business analysis. And business analysis means I would say that there are two components to it. The first part is what you call typically requirement gathering or requirement collection or the different things. But one is just collection, second is the analysis part. So many times what happens is that many people in the industry are not really aware of the precise methodology to be followed or how it is to be done in a more scientific manner. They don't know means they know it, but they don't know how to express it. Yeah, the problem lies mostly in that, because another situation here being that what do? You interact basically with somebody from business. Let's say you are developing an application. So you have to interact with those people who want that application, so who are kind of end users for that. But they don't know the structured way of telling it to you or how to express it. They know it from their point of view. And they only talk about the business, the way they work on it. Now, as an analyst, your skill lies in how do you extract it from them. Because they may say that, well, I am a user, I just know how to do, but I don't know how to write it or how to document it or how to put it from a system development point of view. So that's where the challenge lies. And maybe you might have had some of the techniques which have been discussed during the day in terms of activity diagrams, or maybe in terms of use cases, or maybe in terms of flow charts or using VCO, and those are all becomes tools and techniques. But beyond that, 2 or 3 key things which typically people look at. One part where there is a great expectation from the business user community is that they look at you when you go in the role of a business analyst as a person who is doing consulting. Consulting means what? They don't look at you that because I told you this so you did it like that. They expect that you will ask them 10 different questions, provide them 10 different options, and then come out with a thing that, okay, help them to express themselves in a better way. That, do you mean this? Oh, if not, then do you mean this? If you mean this, then it means in a structured way it means this. So that kind of a discussion is what is expected typically by them. Because at the end of the day, they just say, what do? I don't know how to write a software. That you know better. And you and your team knows. So you have to translate my requirements into a fashion which is acceptable, understandable by probably the developers who are designing it. Or first the designer, then the developer. So that's typically one of the points that as a business analyst you need to keep in mind, that it's not just you told me this, so I wrote it like that. It has to be more from helping them to express themselves in a better way. So that's a little bit of consulting angle. And then what happens typically, you do something and you go in the later part of the development, you try to show it back to them and they say, oh, you did like that, I didn't mean it like this, I meant something else. So that's where comes the another important, which is what we call the use cases also, because it indirectly helps you to prepare the acceptance, what is typically the acceptance criteria, or the when you go towards the testing side. So whether it is a user acceptance or system acceptance, whatever you call it. So that becomes critical. So this is one very important aspect. And the second aspect that you have to keep in mind is you have to first develop a knack of interacting with the people, the business users, creating little friendship with them, easing out in some of their day-to-day problems, or like try to come out from an angle that what are your pain areas, where do you see challenges in your day-to-day work, and a bit of a information sharing with them where you tell that if you do it in this fashion, it will help you in your work, because that's where they are going to have some encouragement, or they feel that you are going to help them. So those are the aspects which again, these are more out of, some of them are out of experience, some of them are out of just your personality and how friendship you make with them, etc., etc. But nobody will teach you that, but in the practical life those things matter the most. And you just go with them over coffee, have a little informal interaction with them, share some jokes with them, little bit of their interest area, hobbies, etc. It's and then that helps to bring a little bit of a bond. Okay, so these are some softer aspects, but these are the interpersonal skills that you look at. But you have to use them. You have to use your techniques, tools. So that's given. And then you have to have third aspect, which is quite important, which is more from the subject matter expertise. Because whichever area you are working on, let's say you are doing an application in the area of insurance, then it is expected that you know the business terminology, the business parlance, the language, etc., which is used in that industry, in that business, and also the knowledge of the processes. So those are the three components which go together to make a good business analyst. And then of course, you have to always play it back, in the sense that you do something, you put it for their review, call them for an informal discussion, make like a round table discussion or so, and use that, or put it on a slide set or something, and say that I have listened to you, this is what I have converted it into, I am playing it back to you, please give me your time and say that whether this is what you want or do I make some modification with this. So that's typically how is appreciated in the